like I said in the last class, we would continue from where we stopped. So I will just go back to creating a new file and then naming it second lesson. In the first one, we created it, but we didn't really use it. So I think it still retained the information I sent to it. I gave it to use for the first. So we're going to be using that same information. So what we're going to be doing in this session is just going to be walking around some of these tools in Photoshop. So starting with up top here, we have file. There you see new. If you want to create a new file, that's it. Open. Those of us who are familiar with certain softwares in the computer are familiar with new, especially like Microsoft Office. So you would have used the new to create a new file, open to open in on one existing. Browsing bridge. Bridge is like, let me just say, a mini, like Chrome, so to say. But then it's for Adobe basically. So open as we have open a smart object. Many of these things you will get familiar with later, but then just for now we don't really need much here. Slide new, open as, and open recent. Recent is the recent files I've worked with. You have nothing here, but it's fine. Next, we have close to close the window. That's the window you're working on. Close all is everything open. I think you already know what I mean. Save as to save a new document. Save a copy to save what you've saved before. You want to save it as a different one, and many others. So let me not spend time there. Export to export something. Let me say I make a design. I want to send it out as JPG or PNG or some other file formats. I will export as. When I click on save as, I can save as many file formats too, but you'll be getting that later along the line. You might have generate, you might not have it. This is for it's my like I said earlier, my software is 2024. I think 2023 should have this feature too, where you can generate images, but you need to be a paid user to use it because you are using Adobe AI and you need to be online. You can't do that with a cracked software. So basically, let me just keep some of all these. Next, we have edits. Use it to pick certain editing features you need, such as transform to change the size of something or to flip it horizontally or vertically, or many other ways. We would touch every one of these later. I would just touch them, but let me just skip directly to the class, what we did in the class rather. So I did something. I brought in a picture from my browser, and let's start with. I think we used this website. We used Pexels. So, like I said during the training, Pexels is a very important place to use. It's a very good place to get to source images from, and because you don't need to give credit to anyone or that, it's kind of free to use. Pexels, Pixabay, and there are many more like that. But so I also used this image for my work this morning. I use it alongside another image, just that I don't know where the second image is. So I already downloaded this, so it's in my file explorer if I go to look for it. But then I could simply just copy. It is not advisable to just copy images because of the quality, the image quality. It's advisable to download and get from your download, source it from your downloads. But I will just copy and paste. I'm looking for something else that we could use. I think I like this picture too. So let me download. While it's downloading, let me open the images I want to use. So I will open. So we're already using some of these things basically. Sorry, I think downloads. There are my downloads one, and I suppose this is No, okay, one and two. So just a minute while it loads. All right. Um, while we are waiting for that to load, okay, it's here. All right. So next up, I want to bring this image into that place. I opened it because I wanted the quality to be very high. That's why I opened it. Else, I would have just copied and pasted. So second lesson, I drag to second lesson, drop. So it comes with full quality. During the class, we use something of less quality, but we use the same image. So what I would do is I would show you some things right now, which I could do using this. Where should I drop this? Okay, let's stay here or hide. All right. So what I'm going to do, I don't know if yours is showing this, but it's some other things you could do using your image. So I want to use this image, but I want to reduce the size. It looks looking like there are a lot of things hiding. So for me to reduce the size, what I have to do, I'm showing you how to use some of the tools basically using this image. So all I have to do is come here, edit, and then you see this transform here. There's free transform, which is it allows me to do whatever I want to do to it. There's also transform, where I can select what type of thing I want to do to it. Scale is to increase or reduce the size, basically sizing. Rotate is to rotate, Scale has its own, which you will be getting familiar with, but I don't want to confuse it with the so many jargons and the rest. So we'll be using free transform for now, because we want to be able to work on each of the sides. So I selected free transform. Oh, sorry. I have to zoom out. Okay, to zoom in and out, if you have a mouse, all you have to do is click on shift, and then if you have the roller on your mouse, just roll it up to increase, roll it down to reduce. If you don't, you can use the mouse on your laptop. If you're using a laptop, you can use the mouse on your laptop as well. If you pinch, it will zoom out. If you drag two fingers over it, it zooms in. So I zoomed out because we have our image covering a whole large expanse. I wanted to say of land, but this is not real estate. So let me reduce the size of this. I am reducing the size from all sides by using Alt key. Sorry, I don't have that typed down. I would find a way to modify this video, but not for this session. So if I just drag it like this, it moves from that side alone. Some of you might need to use Shift and Alt while doing that. Alt and Shift for some of you. For some of you, you will just by dragging it alone is enough, and you can drag from all sides. Or you could do what I did. You could use Alt to increase or reduce, just to be on the safe side. For everybody, this would work. Use Alt and from this edge or from any of the edges, drag it this way. I think that should work. I think we have our picture there. I can reduce it a bit more, but I don't want this edges, this space I'm seeing by the side. I don't want it, so let me take it back. Okay, let me just expand from here. Yeah. All right, so we have our image. Now, there's something about this image now that I did, which I would have loved to show you, but I think I just had a rethink. It's best I leave it for future class. I wanted to show you how to retain quality on some images. So, but then for now, we have this image. And one of the things we would do is in the last class, you saw that the image was very pixelated when we zoomed, but now you can see it's high quality. So it's when we zoom in, it still retains some level of quality. We want to use some of these tools here. So let's start with this. This is to select when you want to select what you want to work on. An example, I'm selecting this picture. Once I select using it, you can see it selects itself here. If I click out of it, I'm no more on that picture. I can select it here again. But then imagine we have so many things on this screen. You want to select a specific thing. You just use the select icon to select. Behind it, we have something called artboards. So, like I said during the class, this is one artboard. If we use the artboard tool here by right clicking, you get it. I can create another artboard, but I don't need that. So let's just work with this for now. This is a selection tool. I can select. It's called a selection tool. Yes, a rectangular marquee tool is a tool, a selection tool, a rectangular selection tool. So this is move tool or um so this is called move tool. I think I called it select tool. That's a mistake. It's move tool. So let's say for instance I select this area now. So and I want to do something to that area. I mentioned something during the training. Now this is the brush paintbrush tool. Let me click on it. And I can select the color of my paintbrush from here, which is why I talked about color. We can turn it to blue, we can do anything we want to do. We can even change the color grade. So it will be something else, another color or something. We could do anything we want to do with it, basically. But let's use black. So this is my, so when I selected the brush, it came here with its own features and all. So I can change the size of the brush. You can see how big it was before, now it's small. Can make it so big that see how it is and everything. But then I'll just put it something sizable. There are many other features here which you would get to learn later during your. But then let's use this. So as I selected this place, watch what happens. I can paint. But the moment I go out of here, it's no more painting because it is the selected area only it can paint. Now I will undo what I've painted and do it again. You see, I cannot paint out of the selected area. Now, when it comes to selection, I selected using this. I can also do something else, which is inverse. I can inverse the selection so that everything outside where I selected will be selected, while the place I selected will not be selected. Let me not confuse you. Let me just do it so you see. When I click on inverse using this place, you can see we have Shift Control I for those on Windows. For those on Mac, you can use Shift Command and I to do it. That's just the difference. So you can see every other place is selected aside the middle of this place that was selected before. I inversed the selection. Now watch this. I'm painting here, nothing is happening. But the moment I come out, it continues painting. So that's the magic of um sorry of selection. Now I can undo this. I can deselect by coming here to click on deselect, or I think I can also do that by clicking on my move tool and clicking out. Okay, so it does not deselect on this version of software. It might work on yours. I have to click deselect here. I use Control or Command D to deselect. So let's do that again. So I click Control D on my PC and I deselected already easily. Next thing I want to show you is how to use other. This is ellipse marquee tool. That's selection still, but it selects in a cyclical or round shape. If you want it to be perfectly round, because you can see this is spherical. This is, I can play with this shape. But if you want it to be perfectly spherical, you hold Shift and do this. So as I'm holding Shift, it's doing it perfectly. Same way if you want to form a shape like cycle or box, if you want it to be perfectly square in shape, you use Shift. I can also do that using the rectangular marquee tool. Just holding Shift and doing this. Okay, I think it did not work with this, but Shift normally works with a whole lot of things. So if I want to add a selection, if I want to select something added to this, after selecting this, I want to select something else. I can come here. add to selection. You can see it's reading there, add to selection. This will be subtract from selection. So let's try add to selection. Let's add a box. It adds that area to what is selected. So that's what it does. Let's go to subtract from selection. So you see what I'm talking about. It subtracts the selection selected area. Why this is intercepts. If I select with this, it's only the area that intercepts with where I selected new. That's where you will be captured. So you can see this. In mathematics, I am sure some of us did intercept a lot. So that's just the concept around it. So this is the normal selection. Just only what you select will show. Every other thing will go away. All right, let's leave that. Let's come to this. This is also for selection, but it's called a lasso tool. Why? You have to draw over the area you want to select. So now I've selected this. There are many things you can do when you do this, but we would not be talking about that right now because of time constraints. We also have polygonal lasso tool. The difference between this lasso tool and this is that on the polygonal lasso tool, you do not drag and drop, you do not drag and use the way you do on other ones. On the other lasso tool, I had to draw around before I stop. But on this, I click, I go to the next stop, click, go to the next stop, click. I have to keep clicking till I get what I want. So you see the difference. I have to click, click, click before I can do all this. So that's the difference. I have to close it. So I will go to where I see this circle and then I do that. Another way I can close is by clicking Control and the circle comes up. It closes it for me. Control on Windows, Command on Mac. Next, I have the Object Selection tool. I have Object Selection tool, which is the basic Object Selection tool. I also have Quick Selection tool and I have Magic Wand. So on my Object Selection tool, I can select an object like this. Just a moment. Okay. Okay. I think when I click on an object, it does some selection. Just a moment. I think my software is lagging a bit. I think I would have to slightly modify the way I do this so I don't take so much time on it. Okay, while this is loading, if you also come to this same place, you will see other selection tools. Some of which I already explained in the last during the class how it works, but I would really like to show you that again. Um, Leaving that, if you come here, this is our crop tool. I don't know if to wait or to just continue. All right, this is our crop tool, the one I'm hovering around. I hope you can still see my mouse hovering around. So this is our crop tool. Use it to crop to change the size of your artboard. Our artboard currently, we knew the number we fixed, which is 1080 by 1350. I can always change that shape, that size using our crop tool. So that's what that does for me. Okay, so this is what this guy did for me for my selection. I could select many other things using that. I wanted to show you the other select tools, but that's fine. Let's leave that. Next is the eyedropper tool. This you might not really use some of these for now, so I will just keep them. I will focus on the most important that you'll be touching. Time will come, you would use most of these. So the eyedropper tool, what it does is I can use eyedropper tool to pick a color on this guy's shirt. I wish my mouse was active. I'll pick the eyedropper tool and show you how I use it. I can pick the exact color on this. So in a case where you want to pick a color and you are confused, you can just have the picture of it on your software and then pick the color from that color. It's awesome. That's what eyedropper tool does for you. Moving from that, this is a clone stamp. But before we come to clone stamp, let me talk about the healing brush. So this is called healing brush. I really do not know why I'm still loading here. Just to be sure. I think it's a I should be done loading. I don't know why. Alright, so this is a healing brush. I showed you guys how to use the healing brush during the class. So this is the spot healing brush. Let's click on the spot healing brush. And I zoom in. Sorry about that. Alright, so I zoom in and then I can do something like this. Let's see. I reduce the size of that. I can increase or reduce it using the square brackets on my keyboard. So that's what I did. Let's say this is a mistake or there's a dent somewhere on his face. I can clean it using the spot clean brush. But this is not a dent, so you would still see what it will do. Can you see how it took out that part of his face? It's correcting it. What we use the spot healing brush for is to correct some blemishes, some things that are not supposed to be there, to how it is supposed to look on images. Example, someone has acne or there's an injury somewhere, you want to cover it. Or let's just say someone eats something and it's stuck to their teeth and that's the picture you're working with. You just heal that area using the spot healing brush. Very easy. Next will be paintbrush, which we already used. There are many other healing brushes and there's patch tool, but we would not be working with that for now. So we have the brush. We have many types of brush, but specifically we're going to be using majorly the brush tool, which I already showed you how to use it. We used it to paint somewhere. So something like this. So that's the basic function of the brush tool. Let me undo that. Control Z. Command Z for Mac actually. And then we have the clone stamp. So what the clone stamp does is I will reduce the size of this using the square brackets. I can copy something from his face and redo it and do it somewhere. Let's see, I use Alt for my PC. I think you use Option for Mac. So let me say I select this region. I can always stamp it here as a clone. I made a clone of it, of his image. I can actually do the same and then bring him here and then we have him. So basically whatever region, I just selected a sample and pasted it somewhere else. I can select, the good thing about this is it keeps going. I can basically do this, everything about him, bring him here again. That's the beauty of the clone stamp. So I won't do that. That's what it does for you. There are many other features you can get here. Eraser, the gradient tool. I used the gradient tool during the training. I showed people how they could create something beautiful using the gradient tool. So I think I'm not certain, but let me see. Let me get the second image. I think it will be very useful to achieve this result. So let's get this guy. Let's lift him from here. So I want to go back to my move tool so I can easily drag and drop. So let's bring this guy here. Image is too big as well, as expected. So we're going to resize him. Now, there's something else I wanted to talk about, which is if your image you want to retain the quality, because when you reduce it, Photoshop automatically reduces the size of that image. When you zoom back, it would be blur. It will lose its quality. So one thing you can do to retain quality, but do not always do this, because it would keep everything on a very high size. And when you're saving, it will save it very large. One thing you could do is you could click on convert to smart object. And once it is smart object, once this is done converting, you'll see something that looks like this. No matter what I do to it, it will not affect the real image. Even if I edit this image now, once I go back inside this place, I'll get the original image exactly how it is. It does not lose quality. So I reduce the size. Now let me show you what I wanted to do. Okay. So um let's say for instance I want to input mode. Sorry about that. So I want to do this. I use there are some tools here. This FX is for style, to edit, to add a style to a layer, like to make it. You can see I can add a bevel and emboss. You would understand the meaning of some of these later. I can add a glow, outer glow. I can add a gradient to it, like a gradient. I would explain a gradient much later. Can add a drop shadow, a shadow to it. I can change the color of the thing entirely, of the whole image. But then this is not just used anyway. Don't just use it to change color of anything. There's a way to go about changing color of an image. You can use it to change color of materials, but not a full image. So all these we'll talk about later. But for now, there's that. There's also a layer mask, which is what I want us to use here. So I created a layer mask. In the last class, I did exactly this. So I'm just doing same. So I do this. So you can see how the top image is fading away, and then we're having a new image. The bottom image reflects more visible. We can also do the same from top to bottom. We'll have the top image going off, and then the bottom image going off, the top image going off. Sorry, and then the bottom image taking over. So I can be more direct by doing something like this. Oh, sorry. So this is it, and then I could actually try something entirely different from what I've been doing. I can try to do something like this, hide several part of this. This is not the best way to do it, but then I'm just showing you what I can do. And hide this part. I can hide this other part. There's a way to, if you want to hide two parts, um, you can also do that, and many more things. So if I want to hide two parts, all I have to do is maybe create a copy of this and then hide on the second one, or save this as a smart object. Don't worry, that is not very important. You will get to learn how to. We are not doing photo manipulation right now, but then let me just show you what I mean. um, I can rasterize layer, for instance. I would undo all this at the end of the day. I can rasterize layer, and let's say convert to smart object. I can make it a smart object, add another layer mask, and cover this side. There are actually other ways you can do this, covering each of the sides. Basically, there are many ways, but I'm just showing you a very basic example. All right, so another thing I could do is um, kind of take the ground off. It doesn't really matter. Sorry, there's no need to um, work on that. I wanted to get similar results with what we got in the other class, but the images were quite different. So it was easier getting that result using those images, but it's fine. Um, we have these two, so I just showed you how to use the gradient tool when you want to do something like this. Now there's something else I did not mention when it comes to using the layer mask, which I talked about. Using the layer mask, I can click on this brush tool. If you notice, we have black and we have white here. What black does is hide something. So now you see I'm hiding the front image and I'm revealing the back image. While white, if I want to switch between the both of them, all I have to do is come to this place. There's an arrow here. I click on it and it switches. So I can reveal back what I've hidden. That's what I'm doing now. So there's something else you could actually do, which is um, you could actually use X to switch. Now you see it's black on top. X, it gives you white. So if you click X, it changes the mode. So that is another thing you can use this layer mask to do. If this layer mask does not exist, let me delete that layer mask. I click delete after clicking the layer mask. If I come there, it will not show me anything. I can't use the I can't use this on it at the moment. So the only way I can achieve that is using a layer mask. Except I want to paint on it. But I cannot paint on this because it's currently a smart object. But I can paint on this because it's not a smart object. So see, it's painting because it's not a smart object. So as long as this is a smart object, you can't paint on it. That's why it wasn't giving me option to paint. Sorry. I was still painting on this wood layer because that was selected. So and that's another thing you have to pay attention to. What layer you are selecting and what layer you are working on. This is selected, so I'm painting on it, not on this. So when I close this, when I hide it, you can see I painted on that. So I will undo both of them and you can see the painting has gone off over here. So coming back to this, so we've worked on these two. Here now, we have this is to add a solid color or to add a layer, a new layer, but not just any layer, a layer of either a color or something. You can put a solid color on top. Let's just pick this black. It adds a solid layer on top. It's below this, that's why you are seeing it there. I can put it on top, I can bring it on top, and you see it's on top of it now. So if I want to add something on top of this image, I have to click on it, then do what I want to do. It adds on top. It does not go to the top layer. So you have to adjust it if you want any adjustment for that. So let me delete this layer I added here. There's no need for that. Next, we have the file, the folder, creating of new group. I can click 1, 2, and 3, and then next them in one group. It groups them. That's the function of this. So when we are working with different things, you want to, an example, you have text, you have images, you can actually group your work into text, images, several things. That's one way to work. There are many other ways to group things. While if I click on this, it adds a new layer for me. Imagine I want to paint on top of this, but I do not want it to affect the image. I can just create a new layer that is blank, nothing is on the layer, and then I paint on it. So that way, even when I move this out, I still have my guy without him being stained and all. So that's the function of these that are below here. And this is to delete. Let's say, for instance, I added this guy. Let's add a gradient. Let me even use this to explain what a gradient means. So a gradient, for those who are not aware, is multiple colors used in is multiple colors basically being blended together. So most gradients trend from one color to another. You can see this is white and black. This is black and transparent, which is what we're using now. This is white and black. This is just black. You can see blues, multiple colors. This is the way to come out. There'll be a blue, a light blue in the middle of these two blues and other things. That is, all those are gradients. So let's say I choose a gradient to be on top. Okay, I have a gradient on top. I can just click delete here and it goes off. It asks me delete layer. Yes. So it's off. Although I like the way it looked. So let me just leave it like that. I believe some of us might like it. So next is the smudge tool. You would most likely not be using this now. why you are not playing with colors yet, except those of you who have a background in art. You might be able to use this. You want to, this is to, let me just say you put two colors on a, you put it on something, you want to mix them together. You want to, you are moving from one side, you're touching the both colors. Once you are mixing it, it kind of gives a mix of the both colors. That's what it does. You can see a sample here. You can see a sample here showing us what it will look like. So um there's no need playing that. I don't want to get you all distracted from the main thing. So this is called dodge tool. As you can see, it lightens an area of your image. You can see what it's done doing here. What is done. And next we have the pen tool. Pen tool is used to select um, areas around something, and you can use it to create a new part or a new shape. Let's use a pen tool to create something very quick, so it you would have an insight what I'm talking about. So all I'm doing, I'm going to each side to click. And what I did create here, I don't know what shape this is, but I shall know I created the shape. Um, so it's a part. Okay, I created a part, not a shape actually. So if I want it to become a shape, I click on shape, and then it makes it a shape. It makes my part a shape. So let's say I want to edit my shape. I will come to the main shape builder where shapes are to edit it. The reason why we don't have something inside the shape is because on my main shape builder, it is off. So let's say I make my main shape builder the color of the box to be white. Okay, you know what? Let's leave the shape builder out of it for now. I will come to the shape builder, and when I come there, you will understand what I'm saying. So you don't get confused. All right, so that's what the pen tool does. It does many things. There are many types of pen tool. There's the one that can give me curvature. All I have to do is do this and okay, and do this, and it's forming a round something for me. So that's the curvature tool. So we can see that that's a type of shape builder. Sorry, pen tool as well. It's a type of pen tool. Let me select the normal pen back. Next is text. We want to add a text. Just click on text, add its, let me call it RSVP. Sorry, I like the local meaning of that word. Rice and stew very plenty. It's actually répondez s'il vous plaît. Sorry. Okay, we're going to be using black. Black is a thicker variant of this. There's bold, there's semi bold. You can see how light it gets to thin. There's regular. So we're going to be using black, so it will be very, very big. I will be using white because white will be more visible. Now, this takes us back to what we've been doing in design already, where we'll talk about colors and contrast and the and the likes. Yeah. So let me just pause here, and then we'll have RSVP. So that's what I did with text, basically. So we have that text. We could edit it using this place. Remember, I talked about this. Now, I could also show you how to use this. Imagine I put 100 here. Watch what happens to it. See the space between it changes. I put 200, it gets bigger. I could also reduce the space between it to minus 100. It becomes very tight. So that is what that does. If I should have more text below this, let's say we have this as our text. I can actually come here and make it, see the space between it is now so wide that it even left our screen. Let's change it to 36. See how it looks. Let's change it to 60. It gives more space, and that's how it works. So I'll put it back to auto, so it just automatically arranges it for me. Um, this is to make it wide or not. So what this does is, let me just say I put 200%. Unlike the other one that gives space in between, this one just makes your text wide. That's all it does. So there's no need for that. I'm just showing you. This is to make our text bold, make it fox. It's called fox bold. So it makes it bold. Like it's not really boldening it from the text type here. It just makes it bolder, whether it's bold or not. This is to make it italics. We have italics of many shapes, but some shapes do not come with italics. So this is more like a fox italics. So this is capital letters to make everything capital letters, all caps. When I do this, you see that GFXY, I just typed it without doing it in caps. So it returns that to small letters. When I use all caps, it takes everything to capital letters. That's what it does. This uses capital beginning and small capitals for the rest. So whatever is in capital letter is bold. Whatever is in small letter is still in capital letter form, but it's smaller. So let me show you a sample using this now. Okay. So you can see that the RSVP that is in full capital letters was normal. While let me show you something. Let me delete this G and put a capital letter G. So you see the difference between this and when it was just small letter G. So that is exactly what that does. And then we have this for making something superscript. We have this for subscripts. You can cancel it to take it out. You can undo this to have it normal back. Okay, so we can have all. Let's put it all back to caps. So just for that sake, it's not like it's important. There are many other features in other places. Now let's go to the shape builder tool. So under the shape builder tool, there are many shapes. There's circle, there's triangle, there's polygon, line. There's also custom shapes. Sorry, I already deleted some of my custom shapes because of this training. So that's so what we have basically default. You see wildlife, you see animal, you see trees, you see boats. I don't know if yours has the same. Yours might not, but yours will have something here. So it's default shapes. It's made it as shapes. You could actually create your own shapes and add them to this place. That is something you would need to learn separately later. I could find a link to something that teaches that, or if we are lucky, I could make a video for that. So so we have that shapes. We have that for shapes, but then let's just use a very basic one. So let's say triangle, rectangle. Like I said, if you hold Shift and drag this, it gives you a perfect square. No matter how you twist it, to give you a square. It will never go out of square. Now, like I said, this is the fill. This is the color of the square. This is the line around the square. I can change it to green. I can change it to black. I can even increase the size of the line around it. Let's say we call it 50. So it will be very obvious. Let me change the color to green so it will look different from the background. So you can see what it looks like. Now coming back to the shape builder tool, I can also turn off what is the color of the shape so it will be the outline only. So we see what is being done here, right? We can actually play with our shape as well by doing something like this. Now we have curved round edges. Now we can do something like this, and it looks like a style. Like this was originally how we intended to make the image. Just we're just playing around basically. So that's with the shape builder tool. You can do a whole lot of things. You can actually do much more. You can actually shape one side and shape multiple sides, but I will not be doing much of that. So we do not get distracted from the main aim of the class. The main aim is for us to learn about the basic tools, what they do. This is a zoom tool. So for you to zoom, this is the hand tool. Example, I don't really use this, but it's something I need to really use. So an example, that period I was zooming in and out and I was struggling to find where I am. I could have just used the hand tool and dragged and taking myself to where I want to take myself. So you can see even with my almost 7 years of work experience as a designer, I still do not really use it, even when I know the use. So some of these tools you might not really use them, and sometimes some of the things you use some of these tools for, you might find something else you use to achieve that same thing. An example: this hand tool many times can be replaced with the space bar on your keyboard. When you click space, you can see the hand has appeared and you can drag. Like I said, I even still do not use it even while knowing it. So it makes your work faster. I think I might start using it more from after this now. So so that is roughly about it. I believe we have touched majority of these. Um, with time, we'll get to navigate over here and learn more about it. All right, thank you.